Spoilers ahead for Evil Dead 1981. Also, content warning. This review contains descriptions of sexual assault.
Hello, and welcome to the Franchise Connection, where sometimes you accidentally release demons after playing a mysterious incantation. I'm Matt Fisher.
I'm Matt Sparrow.
Today we're discussing the 1981 horror classic, The Evil Dead. Written and directed by Sam Raimi, the film follows 5 friends, Ash, Linda, Scotty, Shelley, and Cheryl, as they're in a cabin in the woods for a fun weekend. However, the trip takes a strange turn when they discover macabre artifacts and an odd recording about ancient Sumerian practices left over from the previous tenant. While listening to this recording, they unwittingly release a slew of demons that taunt and terrorize them in frightening ways. Soon, these friends find themselves trapped in a nightmarish fight for survival against evil spirits that won't stop until everyone is possessed or dead. Alright, Matt, so what do you think of the film?
I think it holds up fantastically.
It's so simple and it's so effective and it's so creepy. It's been a while since I've seen the first one.
Yeah,
again.
Same here. It's probably been about a decade for me.
Has it has been? Really? I think
probably.
But watching again, they do such a good job of, I guess, taking familiar tropes, or essentially with tropes that we've become familiar with now.
Yeah.
And just put their own unique take on it. I mean, when I say tropes, I mean like the idea of like friends going away
on vacation.
Like you think of stuff like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where they're driving on the road and they go on a road trip. But this takes things in a cool supernatural way.
Yeah.
And I gotta give credit. I mean, like, you could tell this was like one of Raimi's first films, and you could see how effectively he used the low budget, like, really well. Is there anything about the movie you like really liked, or something you want to share that, like, watching again?
The music standed out to me a lot.
I noticed that too. Yeah.
It was so understated, but it was effective, and the composer, Joseph DeLuce, he did a great job.
I know. I noticed that too. It definitely raised your sense of dread at times, and it had sometimes like a kooky feel, like with that techno sound to it.
Yeah.
And at times it was kind of very traditional. Your run-of-the-mill horror movie. But it just added another layer and another essence to the film that really kind of added to it all the just insanity these characters are going through. And like watching this again, like these characters are like just having the worst night of their lives.
Honestly. They really are.
I mean, it's so something that I thought was like really cool. Watching this was the feeling of being trapped. Like watching this again, I was noticing that more and more. When I think about it the first time I watch it, I'm like, okay, they go to the cabin and these things attack them. But you really get the sense of, like, there's no escape for them. I wrote in my notes, like, it's funny, like, on the way to this cabin, so many warnings. So many. It's like...
The car
almost hitting them. The bridge being a danger, which, I mean, like, does come back. It was almost like something was trying to stop them. I mean, who knows? Even though in the beginning of the movie, like, these 2 guys are just waving at them. Maybe they were like, don't go here. Something I was thinking about, though. So, like, we mentioned how they find this ancient recording, and it's left over from this professor or researcher who went to the cabin with his wife, which I thought was kind of cool. That's good world building.
Yes.
I thought that it's like another movie that hasn't been told. Do I want to see that prequel? No. I think it's a nice little detail to this movie. And something I was thinking about was this professor who more or less had the same terrible night that these characters have, maybe even worse, that he was the only survivor. Now, thinking about this, I know they went to this cabin. Do you think that professor was in that truck leaving?
Maybe.
Something I was thinking about. I mean...
It's a possibility.
I know, it may just be a weird coincidence, but it's a thought I had. But yeah, the sense of being... going back to being trapped. So, after they go through all the warning signs, and they're going to the cabin... I don't know if you noticed it, but I thought it was like really cool how Raimi composed the shot. So I know you haven't seen The Shining, but the way The Shining opens up is they're driving to the hotel.
Yeah. And I've seen that scene.
Okay, so it reminded me of that. I mean, it was close; it wasn't as far away. That as they're driving down, that road is narrow. and then they find open up into a field. But it's almost once they get there, they can't go back. It definitely feels like something is entrapping them, and it's going to go to a different idea having the movie too about voyeurism, which like was pretty rampant. As my viewing of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, especially when it went into the shots that were following people around.
Yeah, I mean, even the way the movie begins, like Raimi does a really good job. I'm getting the sense that something is out there, something is following them, something is stalking them, something wants them, and that's been imitated so many times now. But it is a really cool, creative effect when you're working on a low budget, as this movie is.
It's a creative effect, and it's a great way to not show what's following them.
Yeah, because like even though we do eventually see these demons possess these campers, college friends, whatever you want to call them. I mean, these friends. They're not really campers. Even though we see what they look like possessed, we don't actually know what these demons look like on their own. And kudos to leaving it to imagination to imagine something even scarier.
Yeah.
Because something is chasing them many times while they're in the cabin, while they're staying in the windows, that is just so creepy. And it makes you like, what are they seeing that we're not? That's even like more horrifying than these scratchy face, rotting, blank-eyed corpses that they become. Is there anything else?
I noticed a lot of clocks, or a lot of shots of the clock.
Yeah. That's interesting. Like, how so?
Like whenever the first thing you see Cheryl draw is a clock.
Interesting.
And then you see the clock like 4 or 5 more times throughout the movie, and sometimes the hands look like they're stuck. And then the hands move faster at a certain point.
So almost like going into the idea of like being trapped, it's like the time just stops. Like they can't go anywhere because it's just
they're in a pocket, almost a pocket dimension.
Yeah. New theory. That's interesting. And not only that, but like every movie has a deadline.
Yeah.
You know, and in this movie, to go in the time, you do see, them waiting out the sunlight.
Yeah,
which was kind of interesting, like that safety of light, you can see what's around you. Again, going to the other being trapped and not seeing what the monsters are.
Going back to that, I also noticed that as soon as he burns the book, the sun comes up.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's making me think like Blair Witch rules. Like it's like the book is controlling things. I know we're kind of like rambling, but there's a lot to talk about this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah. So, like, how do you feel about how Raimi crafted and directed and really
I think
captured.
For essentially his first directorial debut.
It's close, yeah.
I think this was originally a student film, and then he decided to remake it.
Yeah, I was reading about it. I think they said like he made like a short film for producers, and that grew into what we see in The Evil Dead.
Yeah. So for something that's essentially one of his first films, he had a fantastic grasp of the characters he wanted to have in the film, the shots he wanted to have in the film, and just how to manage, even if it's a small cast, this small cast of characters.
Yeah. It's really nice when you see like somebody that has such a big project in front of them with the confidence of kind of knowing what they want to do and what they want to make, and you can definitely see Raimi like had this vision in his head. It's really cool how he essentially made his own little realm of horror. Like people hear Evil Dead, they know that is an iconic series.
Yes,
and it's really impressive. Not only did he kind of create a new property for horror fans to rally around, but the world building and the little details he puts in the movie are really, really good. The going to the cabin, but there's somebody already been at these artifacts. What are they? It's showing that it's not just about the small group of friends. There's a bigger thing going on in the background that we're not really seeing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's not only in addition to that, he does a really good job building up these characters. Is there a lot to these characters?
Not really.
Honestly, no. But you like them. You have fun with them. Sometimes you kind of hate them. Eventually, you kind of get annoyed with Scotty.
I felt like Scotty was a jerk from the beginning of the movie.
Well, it's kind of cool because, again, like,
But I still wanted to root for him. I still wanted him to escape at the end.
You don't want these characters to really suffer the fates they're going to suffer. You want them to survive. It just sucks how sometimes some of the decisions they make aren't really the decisions you want them to make, or the decisions, to be honest, like sometimes if you found yourself in a situation, would you make? I thought it was kind of cool that in the cast too, really did a good job playing off each other well. They felt like a tight group of friends.
Well, I mean, two of them are the girlfriends of...
Yeah, so you had two couples, and you had Ash's sister.
Yeah, Ash's sister.
Yeah, and something I thought was interesting was, after they released Demons, and they unknowingly, listen to tapes, Cheryl's the first one is possessed. And in an interesting way, the Demons, I thought about this, she's the only one that doesn't have a boyfriend or, somebody...
All she has is her brother.
She has a brother, but I mean, like, she is the most, I guess, is the easiest one for them to go after because she doesn't have anybody to really, like, gravitate toward. She's, sketching the clock, and you see the demons start to take over her and draw that book. Nice little building into when they eventually do find the book. But it is done in such a cool way because I noticed, and maybe it was just the lighting of the scene, but her hand looked discolored. It looked like someone was possessing her, which we'll see a lot of times in the Evil Dead movies, that people's hands eventually kind of get out of their grasp.
Almost.
Yeah. But, so, I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think, or, like, do you have any ideas behind that, too?
I think that is definitely interesting. It's, like, I did notice that. Mm-hmm. Cheryl is an interesting character.
She's almost the most reasonable one, because when they find... the artifacts, and they find the
she's
recording.
She's like, don't do this.
Yeah, she's like, I don't think we should be doing this. This is really weird and creepy. So it's nice to have that one little moment of not just going like, oh, what's this? Hey, let's give it a try. Like, there's one person going like, this doesn't feel right. Would the night have been better if they never read it? I don't think so. I think those demons...
We're gonna make them do something.
They were like almost like hibernating. I do feel like those demons were just hibernating. They were waiting for something to wake them up. They were essentially asleep. Yeah. Because, I mean, you saw that camera move in the beginning. Something was there. That wasn't just a flashy effect. Like, it's almost like Raimi was evoking Jaws. Like, you were following that creature. So I think they were there. They just needed those words to be said to achieve what they want.
Something else I noticed was she almost had a kind of like a psychic connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe that's why they went after her, even like in the worst way. I mean, yeah, I really liked something I thought was kind of cool too was that when we look at the other Evil Dead movies, most of them are about one person with a supporting cast. I thought this one was interesting because I noticed this time around it's much more of an ensemble.
Yeah, Ash really isn't the main character until like the last 5 minutes of the movie.
Mm-hmm. They build up to that, and they build up to that well. Before that. I mean, this movie is just about a group of friends. And so I thought it made it more effective every time one by one they got possessed or had to confront these demons, literally and metaphorically, around them. Like, you cared because it wasn't just about one person. So it's something I noticed too is like, Ash eventually we know becomes the figurehead, the face of the series. And he's confident, he's silly, he's goofy, he's badass. He's the king, as he likes to call himself.
In this movie, he really isn't.
No, I thought it was kind of interesting. They made him very kind of nerdy and kneebish. Yeah. Kneebish is a word, right? Yeah. They make him very kind of almost like nerdy and very...
introverted almost.
Yeah. And I thought that was kind of cool. Like, he's just a regular guy. Like, he doesn't... And I think that's what's interesting about all of them. They have no skills to face these things, and they don't even know what they're really facing. But it was interesting to see Ash just be a regular guy. I thought it was kind of, he's teasing his girlfriend with, by pretending to be asleep, holding a box. That's really a gift for her. And it's a nice little light moment before the horror really begins. And it's neat what Raimi does later in the movie by reversing that scene. But I mean, how do you feel like with Ash? Like I thought it was kind of cool. You see him slowly have to like man up and have to
face this horror head on
with no help by that point.
Yeah,
everybody like by the time he becomes holding his prototype boomstick and and Benji picking up a chainsaw, but not the chainsaw. He's like alone.
He's alone, and even then, he's like not really willing to use the tools he has.
No, and so something I thought about this too, that to go into the story that Raimi crafted, it's very reminiscent. I noticed of like zombie movies. Like there is a moral dilemma to what these characters are facing. They don't know what they're facing, but when they see their friends slowly, one by one, start to get possessed or start to like do gross mutilations at times and whatnot, we're gonna talk about the gore. That, you know, they have a question of what do we do? Okay, Cheryl gets possessed. We'll lock her in the basement. But what do we do next? She's driving us crazy. And then, you know, she stabs somebody. Like, and then what do we do about that? Like, it definitely leads into the insanity these kids are going through.
Yeah, and they don't have a lot of tools. Their car is kind of useless.
Yeah, especially when they can't get over the bridge that's destroyed. It's interesting too, like the weapons they have that you never really see come back, which is fine. I don't mind the story changing around, but like the skeleton sword. So I mean, like, was that meant to be like a way to stop them? Like, we don't really know.
No,
again, it's one of those like details introduced but never really answered. Which again, I like. I like leaving that to my mind to figure out.
I think it was a case of he was like, well, I need some way to stop them, and well, I haven't really crafted everything yet, so here's something.
Yeah. Should we talk about the? I'd like to talk about the book. Do you want to talk about the gore first or the book?
Let's talk about the book.
Okay.
Because that comes first. Because before the gore, the book just. So when they go in the basement and find the book, it's very unassuming.
It's definitely creepy. I mean,
it's
still
a creepy book, but it's
what a good prop. I mean, again, like I said before, like with Raimi doing his little world building for this film, like the detail they put into that book is pretty good. Like you only see a few pages, but very well done designs. Very, very, creepy, elegant. I mean, like you see that book, you get goosebumps.
I'd kind of like to see the art pages from that book.
Yeah.
To pick them apart and see all the little details in them.
Yeah, because it definitely feels like there's more to that book. And what I thought was really cool was like it's described as being bound in human flesh, written in the ink being blood. That you do see that. Like it's not like they mention it, but when you look at it, you go like, I don't buy it. Like you look at this book, it does feel like it is some
ancient, creepy artifact.
Like you should not even be looking at it because it does.
Honestly, it reminded me of the Necronomicon from Lovecraft.
Yeah, because going forward they called it Necronomicon, but in this movie
it was just called the Book of the
Dead. Yeah. Again, going with the idea of keeping it simple and making it much more
accessible, almost.
Not accessible, but keeping it simple, but like branding it into something bigger. Something I thought was kind of cool too was you definitely feel like these artifacts, this cabin, they feel alive in the movie. Like,
yes.
They definitely feel like they're not just settings or props. They feel like they are as essential to this.
They're almost characters in and of themselves.
Yeah, because they're not just stagnant and they're not just there to be used. They feel like the presence is there, adding to the actual story. I know the set design in the movie I thought was great. I mean, you look at that.
It's very simple too.
Yeah, you look at that house, that cabin, and I thought it was kind of cool because in my notes I put down like, it looks like a rural Amityville horror, and I say that because like when you look at the Amityville horror house, it has like those creepy windows that look like eyes, and when you look at this cabin, it looks like eyes. It looks like a face, and I thought it was kind of cool. Again, like throughout the movie, Raimi does a really good job building suspense, and this is kind of like creating great quiet sensory moments. Like when they walk into that cabin, you see that dust when the sunlight hits it, and again to me it felt like that's like making a sense. There's a presence there. There's something creepy. And not even like walk through the house. Like it just felt very lived in. It felt very rustic. It didn't feel like this was like crafted just for a movie. It felt like this was. It felt
like like his holiday cabin almost.
Yeah, it felt like something that people would visit. Like it had all those little details, like the very retro couches or the very kind of like weird, stuff hanging up. And okay, so I have to say too, as Scotty's walking through the cabin, again, to add to the set design of it, he's not freaked out at all by what he sees when he goes into one of the rooms. There's hanging bones.
Yeah.
And there's tools. I don't know if that was a shed, but like, wouldn't you want to be like, maybe we should leave? There's something.
When they first get there and everyone's looking at him like he's crazy.
What do you mean crazy?
They're Ash and the three girls are standing there just looking at him while he's walking up and looking for the key and being like, it's one of these keys.
It's also like so ominous when he walks up to the house. Like you hear the bang, bang, bang,
and everyone's like looking at him like, are you a little nuts? Can we go?
Yeah. It's very much like that's not normal. Especially that it stops the moment that they open the door. Like someone's like, once they open the door, it's like, we got them, cool. So in addition to the cabin, and also just like nice cinematography too by
Tim Fillo.
By Tim Fillo. To really get that, the words felt very like it captured the essence of like something like is rotting around, because like it's very muted colors. It's very kind of like drab colors, and it definitely like adds to the tone of the movie. So now that we talked about the cabin, like that basement was it is as creepy as you remember it being.
Yes,
yeah. And
like that whole basement is like when they first look in there, they're freaked out, and then they send Scotty down there, and Scotty's like disappears, and everyone's like, where did he go? Why is he taking forever?
I thought that was really good too. Like so, and then when Ash goes down there, the way it's filmed too is
it's almost ominous.
It's very cool because like he walks down, he has a lantern that's not really lighting up anything, but I like how Raimi, like, to get that sense of how big this place feels, he does like a 360 camera movement, and I thought it's really cool. Like okay, Sky walked out. What does this place look like? Okay, we're gonna show you all of it, and then there's there's a mysterious like door down there. Like what's in there, which is where all the artifacts are. But it definitely adds into what we later see, where there's a nice balance of kind of humor and horror. I mean, you kind of laugh, and this is more play for jump scares, but like you do see like when Ash is looking, and then Sky pops, ha ha ha, it's like you're kind of laughing too, but you jumped up. And I have to say, like, I've watched enough horror movies that sometimes they don't really affect me. The jump scares in this movie were really good. There were times that I did jump up, and I've seen this movie before. Yeah. But it's just you get so lost in the story, the characters, and the predicament.
That you don't want anything bad happening to them, and
well, you're so focused on that like when something like really extreme happens, even when you're expecting it, that to me that's like a nice, effective. I remember when I heard about Evil Dead, one thing that stuck out was like, it's an NC-17 movie. I'm like, well, why? Well, the tree scene with Cheryl definitely explains why. Before we get into the detail of that, with the build-up is the demons in this movie, you expect them to be deadites. Yeah. We know Evil Dead has deadites. Those are the monsters of these movies. They don't call them deadites in these movies. I thought that was really interesting. And
they're just...
Well, they call them
Kandarian
demons. And bring that up because while they have the cackle and the trickery that we constantly see them
have in the later movies.
Yeah. These ones are brutal. I mean, like, I feel like they're definitely more unrelenting in this movie than in the other ones. Like, the other ones, like, you're kind of laughing along. Like, the scary creatures. Yeah. But you're like, oh, like these like so weird creatures. This movie, they're pretty frightening, and you definitely see that with the Cheryl scene.
This is definitely more of a straight up horror movie.
Yeah.
The later ones become other genres.
It's a horror comedy mixture.
Horror comedy or even horror fantasy.
Yeah. So not to detract too much, but I again bring it up because like that scene with Cheryl in the woods where the trees are holding her down and it's flat out assaulting her. Watching it was.
It's uncomfortable.
It was uncomfortable. Like it didn't feel like you didn't want to see her get hurt, and the way it's being done is, again, playing into those themes of being trapped, especially in this moment. Like there's nowhere for her to go. She's in the middle of the woods. She's very vulnerable, and again, you feel really like sorry for her because she seems like the most
the
reasonable, compassionate person of the group. And again, it goes into the fact of like her being alone. Like she doesn't have anybody to run out after her, even though like they are looking for her. They do care, even when she transforms. But just the way that scene plays out, it is so unnerving and like really tough to watch because like the way the vines like quickly tie around her arms and then wrap around her, like it's doubling down on her ability to not even be able to leave. I'm not thankful that she eventually does, but I mean before then, like there's one moment that like it's just out, it's just really bad, and I guess it's as controversial as that scene is, it also does show the danger that these demons possess, and cause. If you have any thoughts on it too.
It was kind of brutal just watching it, and I was expecting it too, and I was like, it lived up to my memory of the first time I saw it. If anything, it was more brutal. Yeah,
because you're noticing more of the details that are around them with the effects. I mean, the effects that they're doing on this low budget are great, but it's just pointing into a very uncomfortable scene. And that leads into...
I guess the gore.
The gore and the Deadites.
Yeah.
So something that I thought was really interesting as they started to transform, the makeup in the movie is great.
Oh, it's fantastic.
For a movie that's low budget.
We'd have to thank Tom Sullivan and Bruce Campbell for the...
Oh, Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
That's cool. So even in the beginning, he was helping to set the stage for the elements and the details of this franchise. It's interesting how they go from the creatures not being seen to slowly, possessing and controlling the nature around them. Again, they can't escape. It's going back to that theme of being trapped. To eventually them being possessed. It definitely shows there's more layers to these demons. You see them gradually building up to possessing these people. And when they do, the transformations are just really ghastly. I mean, I really... In some ways, I was thinking about this when I was thinking about the makeup. It reminded me a little bit of The Exorcist, because you see sometimes with them slowly this,
especially the first movie with the first Exorcist movie with
Linda Blair, because you see like the scars and then eventually like the skin changing, the voice changing. I have to wonder if that was an influence on it, but like when Cheryl transforms, it is like so immediate. But you're seeing how quickly these demons like want this, and you see it become almost like very witch-like, with long hair and like scaly skin, and as it goes on, and you see the other people possessed, it may never always get to that level, but you're seeing the prototype of what we're going to see a lot of these days looking like. It's going to be blank eyes. There's going to be scratches on the face. It's going to be laughter.
Yeah, and really uncomfortable laughter.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's interesting with Scotty and Ash.
Yeah. How
they deal with their girlfriends getting possessed. Scotty just flat out...
tries to...
He does. I mean, he tries to.
Yeah.
I think does she come back?
No, she gets killed. She gets killed and buried, and he gets... he gets hurt later.
Yeah, no, but like he does, but when he kills her, like,
and he's like, she's dead. I have to bury her.
But the way the blood starts to splatter in the movie, like it's building up to that gore. But you're seeing them go crazy. Yeah. And then with Ash, like that one part where like he sees Linda possessed, and it's just a thing coming laughing, like it's like you see him like starting to lose his mind. And that was something I was thinking about too. Was well, I'll go down later. Yeah. But yeah, these I want to call them Deadites, but
these creatures,
these Condorian demons, like. And not only that, but like you feel like they are a bit more brutal and hellish. Like even when you see the incantation being read, and you're seeing the ground open up, and the ground's red. You know, other times when they read out the book, it's the POV shot, and they take over, like, they're laughing, but like, you're just feeling like the sense of like they're opening a portal to something else.
Which kind of feeds into my whole them in being a pocket dimension
you think so?
theory.
Yeah.
I think I think as soon as the incantation was read and you saw the ground turn and everything became dark, they went into a pocket dimension almost, where time stood still.
Is it almost an easier way? Oh, and hence why the bridge is closed, because maybe...
Which is why the bridge is closed, why...
It's so dark the way it is.
Why it's as dark as it is, why the clocks look at like it hasn't moved.
Interesting. And I guess too, like even like when Scotty at that one point goes to leave, when we essentially start to hate Scotty. He goes, hey, you can take care of Linda. I'm leaving. I'm not standing around here. And then he goes back, and he goes, I can't escape. They're all around me. But that's interesting. And that leads us, talking about the Deadites. The Kinoan demons. I really want to just call them Deadites. I mean, it's so easier. But kudos to trying to craft your own take on the Lovecraftian type monsters, that you can't see. Well, so the gore, I thought it was really interesting. The way it progresses is very interesting. Leading up to, all this bloodshed happening, there's like one really cool scene where when Shell's drawing,
right,
it cuts to a blender that's red. Yeah. In a way, maybe foreshadowing that she would be the first one, possessed. But so it built up, and I thought it was kind of cool. Like when we were talking about the basement, where he does show the set piece. I noticed that when the pipes are dripping, they almost look like blood. The way that so it's kind of teasing.
I mean, the teases later.
Yeah, but just like sensing like, oh, there's something, it's on its way. When we finally do get to the gore, it's almost like you're not expecting it from such a small movie.
No.
There is a lot of blood.
Those gore effects would make Tom Savini proud.
Yeah, and I thought it was really cool, like the effective use of close-ups too. That like when Cheryl gets the pen, actually it's interesting. I thought about that, like she uses the pen to draw the Book of the Dead, and then she uses the pen to start to puncture and Shelley. What?
It's looking at special effects.
Yeah,
it's the Sam Raimi did the special effects. And a bunch of his friends.
Yeah, so, and I thought, like, there's nice little, like, creative ways they play with the gore, too.
Yeah.
Like, when, I think I said it wrong before, but, when Linda gets punctured with the pencil.
Yeah, she gets stabbed in the leg, in the foot.
Neat animated effect that puncture wound, and then it spreads out.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like something alive is now infecting her body. And it's just a really creepy and weird, red spiderweb type look. And then I really felt like the gore kind of took off when Scotty confronts Shelley after she's possessed.
Yes.
Because he had a shovel.
He had he had the knife, the knife with the skull on it.
And but essentially, like when he kills Shelley, like you see that blood almost like pour down camera. Like from that point, and that is like you're feeling that ouch. And again, it's interesting how like you're getting your horror fandom tropes and elements at the same time. You're getting a very moral dilemma of like he's doing this because something's wrong with her. I can't help her, and it only builds up from there. I mean, it's fine to say build up because eventually Ash gets covered in blood with that pipe that I was talking about before.
Yes,
like it just pours down on him, and it's cool too because like we talked about how Ash's transformation from this very quiet, almost introverted person to being this,
almost hero.
Yeah.
Being essentially the final girl.
Yeah, that's interesting too. Yeah. The more blood he comes in contact with, the more he channels that, I don't want to say macho hero, that very confident individual. Like, I don't know what I have to do, but I gotta do something. So by the end of the movie, like I wrote down like in my notes, like he goes through like a he's covered. It's like he got baptized in blood. Like he's
literally.
Yeah, like he is almost reborn as a new person, and it goes back to that scene in the basement too. Like he gets covered in blood. Light bulb fills with blood. Blood goes in the camera. I thought that was really cool. Like it's neat how like they're using a lot of blood effects and blood special effects and makeup, but how Raimi goes, well, I'm gonna do a little bit more blood without being bloody. And that's by putting the red over the camera lens.
Yeah.
It's like when he goes to the basement, there's a gramophone playing. Again, that is being manipulative and, tricking him and making him go crazy. But it's almost like when Ash is standing in front of that and it turns red, it's like, oh, there's even more blood there. And I thought it was a nice little way to kind of add more without needing more. It's just, the effects are really good too. I mean, so like the scene, as we said before, when we were talking about Ash and how very, compassionate and friendly was with Linda after she gets possessed. I thought that was a really cool scene, a very cool role reversal. Like, did you notice that?
Yeah, he's like the whole her having the thing in her hand that when.
Well, I wasn't not even that. Like, it was the
him putting her into the bed.
No, that when after she's hurt, actually even before that, like you see Ash still kind of keep that compassion, again, being stuck in that moral situation. We see the chainsaw. And I know me and you were like, chainsaw, that they introduced in this movie. I'd forgotten that it was in this movie. But how he can't do it, like, because we know that the only way to stop these demons is by
to dismember them.
Yeah. And you see Ash kind of like going into fight or flight mode by turning it on. And then looking, going, I just can't. I can't. This is a person I care about. And again, the trickery of these demons. I apologize. I keep saying deadites. I just really want to. Is definitely on display in that scene when he's trying to bury her.
Yeah, because she's half dead.
Well, not even that. Like, she's waking up and he's turning back, and now we see the joke that he's playing. That he was playing on her now being done to him, but in a much
more sinister
twisted and sinister way. Yeah. And so then when she pops up and Ash is fighting her, and he uses the shovel to cut off her head. I know they say like Raimi was very influenced by the Three Stooges, and you kind of get that. It doesn't undercut the gore of the scene and the effectiveness of the scene. But the head trying to talk to the body about where to go. Like you do see those glimpses of like, can we match humor and horror, or like have slapstick happening at the same time?
I mean, there was a decent amount of slapstick, even though it was very much tonally a horror movie.
Yeah. Something I noticed too. It's before Ash becomes the de facto hero by the end, he gets thrown around a lot, and I noticed that even the other movies, they love throwing him around. Like, they never effectively try to hurt him. He gets thrown to a shelf. He gets thrown to the wall. He gets stung by, Linda, possessed. I just thought it was kind of funny. Like, Ash is almost like a punching bag to these creatures. Is that because they know more than he does? Maybe.
Who knows?
But, is anything else that you're thinking about? Like, you want, cast or...
Well, I do want to talk effects-wise. Mm-hmm. When he burns that book, it was a really cool effect to see it go into stop-motion animation and claymation.
That's true. The stop-motion in this movie was, it's not all over the place, but when it's used very well, and it's used, again, in a very creative and effective way. When Ash finally destroys the book, and you see the possessed start to decompose, like, it's the right amount of cheesiness and creepiness.
Yes.
It's done in a way where you're kind of like, it's real enough that you're feeling, the chills of it, but it's goofy enough that you're kind of like, I like what I'm seeing. Those scenes too are really cool. Like when you see the bodies decomposing and you have these weird kind of fluids and organs and stuff pouring out to become skeletons. Not to mention the random hands that pop out when he. Demon.
Yeah.
I thought that was just maybe the demons were trying to form inside them. I don't know, but it's a nice little last little shock to give to the audience. Something I thought was kind of interesting was before the book is destroyed, you do finally see the face of it.
Yeah.
It moves its tongue. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
And then the possessed also move their tongues. And I'm left to wonder if that was a signal or something from the book to them.
Maybe.
So I don't know, but I thought it was a nice little the voyeurism aspect of the movie I thought was really interesting. Like you see that a lot, like even the close-ups, you see the eyes. By the end, the hands pop through the door when Ash leaves the house. It's another set of eyes. Even when he finds the necklace that he uses to get the book when he's being pinned down, almost eyes around it too. So I thought that was really interesting watching this again. Like the trapped end up being watched, and it's a scary feeling of knowing you have nowhere to go, but you know somebody's watching you the whole time, and almost like they're playing with you like you're just a toy or something.
Yeah, that is a really interesting point. Voyeurism of the movie, it adds the right amount of creepy to.
Like, I bring it up too because you, like I said before, you know something's out there, but you can't see it, and it's even creepier.
Yeah.
And I think that makes these demons in this movie even scarier because you really, you don't know what they look like. I also want to talk about when you watch a Sam Raimi movie nowadays, you're familiar with his directorial style, and I really thought it was kind of cool in this movie seeing that style come to fruition. Like there's something known as the Dutch angle when the camera's tilted, but Raimi does it in such a way that it feels like it's very abrupt. It's almost like a knee jerk. It's not like he sets it up so the camera's like that. It's almost like it becomes that, and you even see that. I like the editing style of the movie too.
You have Edna Ruth Paul to thank for that.
The quickness of it that again we see later on in his other movies, and the close-ups, it creates such a intensity to it, and it definitely gives the movie its own flavor. To give credit to Raimi, like he was creating a whole new chapter in the horror genre, and he really succeeded very well in taking, friends going on a vacation, an isolated place, and just putting a very unique, familiar, but very
he put his own style on it.
Yeah, and throughout the movie, like you really do see that. You see like the close-ups, or especially at the end, like I keep going back to the part in the basement because I feel like that's where you saw that a lot.
Yeah,
with Ash trying to get the shells to put in his gun, and quickness to the gramophone, to the light, to this, and to go back to the opening shot, like he loves those panning, zooming shots, and
he really does.
It's just such a really cool effect, I guess I keep repeating myself, but it's true. It's a very creative way to make something when you don't have a lot to work with. Is there something you mentioned, like say who the cast was actually, or just
so the cast? Ash Williams is played by Bruce Campbell. Cheryl is played by Ellen Sandweiss. Richard Del Manticore plays Scott. Betsy Baker plays Linda, and Shelley is played by Teresa Lilly. And then there's a bunch of people called bunch of actors playing fake Shemp.
I feel like that's a callback to the Three Stooges.
Probably.
Was Shemp? No.
Shemp is the fourth Stooge. And then there's the rest of the cast, which are all uncredited. Car Shemp is Josh Becker. Person on recorder is Bob Dorian. Sam Raimi is hitchhiking fisherman and evil force.
Oh, so the camera, you could credit that to him. How about that? So it was a person watching, though.
Tom Sullivan is Demon Hands, and local yokel is Rob Tappert.
I feel like we never saw half those scares.
No.
Is there anything else about the movie?
Other than the fact that it's still, as I said, it's still one of my favorite movies, and it still holds up as good as I remember it.
Yeah, to wrap up my thoughts, I see why this is one that people will put on every Halloween or October. There's this very something simple to it that grows into something very otherworldly and outrageous and scary and creepy. It's a very chilling movie because when you watch it in a new context, as we did this time around, you get the sense of how worse the story is.
Yeah.
than you might have remembered.
Yes, it's a lot more brutal than I remembered it being.
Yeah,
and it's
nice that it took horror element, but maybe softened the edges with some zaniness. A little bit. Like, going forward.
Also, something I noticed. I mean, this is true of most movies that were in the 80s. The plot starts almost right away.
Yeah,
like the first 15 minutes is them going to the cabin, and then they hit the recorder.
Yeah,
and then basically the story starts from there.
Yeah, the movie is short as it is. It's 85 minutes or so, and it's a nice it's a nice way to just kind of get to the point, and they're going away, and it doesn't waste time. You
don't need to explain who these people are.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with small character moments, but when you're kind of you're setting up something, it's nice to just kind of get to that something sooner than later.
Yes.
And that way, once you get to the turning point, you can just go crazy and then even build up stuff even more. So, yeah, I like, too, that it just kind of jumped into
the last 30 minutes of that movie are just nonstop.
I just felt like Ash was going... It's hard
it's
not to feel...
nonstop insanity.
Yeah, it's just one thing after another, with demons popping up and coming back and, people being possessed. And then it's neat to see how you do see Ash's mind really losing it. Not even... On top of that, too, I forgot to mention the cool effect with the mirror.
Yes,
that was pretty well done for this movie. I think it was just a matter of the demons messing with him, but really cool effect that worked. Like, even when Ash looked at his hand, he's just like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
It's so. I guess to wrap up my thoughts on the movie, it's a horror classic for a reason. It gives you characters that you get attached to. It gives you monsters to be afraid of, and it's done in such a interesting way that it felt fresh for the horror genre.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. My final thoughts are very similar to yours. Mm-hmm. It's you love to or love to hate some of the characters. Mm-hmm. You have a very simple story, and that is very helpful, especially for even if it's just a first movie in a series, or if it's a very small story, a small scale story. Yeah. Especially for our first review, having something small scale helps a lot.
It's neat to see how this movie introduced the elements of what would become even bigger things later on.
Exactly.
It was definitely not just a nice solo horror movie, but a nice beginning to a very cool, strange, and very distinct and unique franchise.
So, I'm going to plug the socials.
Okay.
We are at _franchise_connection at Instagram. And the Franch, FRANCH, CONN pod at X. You can also email us at franchiseconnectionpodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening to our thoughts on The Evil Dead 1981. Tune in next time as Raimi reinvents Evil Dead by taking the franchise to crazy, zany, and groovy new heights in Evil Dead 2. Until franchise fatigue sets in, I'm Matt Fisher.
I'm Matt Sparrow.
For the Franchise Connection. Bye.
Bye.